Greetings, this is Junior Morgan of Bob Marley and the Wailers. The time has come for the lion to tell his story. And we have here the lion voice. So listen in and get nourishment for the stomach and for the head cup. Jah Rastafari.
Give thanks.
Give thanks.
What do you have to tell the people about Rastafari?
Light to the world. King of kings and the conquering line of the tribe of Judah. I like himself. Where's rightful ruler? Hey yo! Yeah. Hail them high, hail the black king on the 23rd of July. So tell them guy who praise God up in the sky, it's a lie. The Almighty living on your night. From ancient time them a try. Them Romans know them just open them suit and ties. Criminals ain't got no alibi, they stole my people. Then them come without them genocide.
Are you talking about slavery?
Them couldn't kill the lion we come conquer Judah tribe.
Who?
Go through tribulation, and I strive, see sufferation, and I still rise. That's why we tell them in America, live Rastafari in every ghetto area. We come if you tell them in a Toronto, straight at
So, number one, acknowledge the divinity. Number two, acknowledge the supremacy of the teaching of His Imperial Majesty. And number three, very important, you have to have this one to say you are Rastafari, which is what? Live the teaching, the implementation. If I just read the speech and say, yeah man, I'm sit down at my house and I watch TV and eat and belly get big and am I Rastafari? No. Why? Because Rastafari have a track record of work and accomplishment in a real life. It's a liberty. We always say that. It's a liberty. The elders show us that it's a liberty. The elders, the Rastafari elders, them establish a global. I go in any ghetto. I can go in any boardroom. I can go in any rural area around the world. Respect, love. That is the elders' legacy. They lived that. They had to live that. They had to travel through the world. They had to take the beat in them. They had to be the first Rastafari. They had to be called crazy. The work was done. Spreading the word of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Selassie the first. One of the things that, I liked about the One Love movie was one of the first things out of Bob's mouth in the movie was Haile Selassie the first is the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, earth rightful ruler. Why? Because that is what elevated Bob, was that he was spreading the revelation of His Majesty. And any artist from Jamaica that hold on to that covenant with His Majesty is propelled into superstardom. You can name them off. Look at all of the massive superstar. And anytime them kind of cool off on the glorification of the king, them kind of cool down same way. That covenant is there, you know what I mean? Anyone who wants, because the love of the Almighty is there in the hearts of man. So those are the three areas. Acknowledge the divinity. You have to, number two, you have to acknowledge the teachings as supreme. Number three, you have to live the life. You know what I mean? And the thing about the speeches, let me just be clear here. The thing about the speeches is that His Majesty he speaks very broadly in his speeches. So when you live the speeches, that doesn't mean that you have to become an Orthodox Christian. Yes, he has speeches to the Christian churches, but he also addresses people all over the earth, and he tells you about the spiritual kinsman and all of these things and the purpose of religion to bring ones into that oneness. He himself is the defender of the Christian faith. So you cannot be in opposition, but that doesn't mean you cannot, that you have to be an Orthodox, because in the speeches he will let you know say there's a oneness. Also, when we look at the Bahatawi in Ethiopia, the Bahatawi don't go sit down in an Orthodox church service. You know what I mean? They acknowledge the things that are there, but they walk and they, preach the word sound. They have them locks, use them herb, them do, you know what I mean? So, nobody wouldn't say that they are not, within that order. And that's how I see I and I as, coming within that framework of Bahatawi, where we're not necessarily everyone going to go and be Orthodox. Although we have whole heap of Rastafari family who are Orthodox. You know what I mean? And nothing wrong with that. And those ones are helping to keep the blackness, the original, within that church and that order. And that is important, because the Orthodox has been infiltrated. White Jesus is now there, all kind of infighting people who know the history of the church, even toward the late part of His Majesty reign, know the politics. We're not going to get into that. But what I'm saying, so I don't want to interpret that everyone, every exact thing, but within acknowledging the supremacy of the teaching is, the main thing is you cannot be in opposition to the teaching. His Majesty leave a place for all humanity within his pattern. But you cannot be in rebellion to the teaching and then say you are Rastafari, because now you become an impediment to the message His Majesty is spreading. You cannot be in opposition to the teacher, to the King of Kings, to the conquering lion, to the supreme sound. And, what I tell brethren is, respect every elder, respect everyone's sound. But until I can see your achievement and the alternative that you have provided that can match what His Majesty manifests on this earth, I'm gonna go stay with His Imperial Majesty without apology. And I know I'm not alone with that. That's why I can speak with such confidence. What I'm saying resonate with the core, because ones already know them thing. But we have a lot of ones who say them are Rasta, who are lick down His Majesty teachings, and who are out there spreading diverse doctrine that are in complete opposition. And these were some of the teachings that infiltrated anti-education. They're against education. That's Babylon. They're against structure. That's Babylon. What, you want structure, no, that's, what I mean? And they equate these things with Babylon. But when we look, they have built no institutions. You know what I mean? We have an epidemic in terms of our second generation. We cannot employ our youths. We have no economic base. Nothing to do with His Majesty teaching, which was clear on all of these things. You know what I mean? So, the reason why we are not further as Rastafari people is because, again, everybody mix up in a one. And when one of them lick it down, the ones who are say Rastafari just, you're surviving, you deal with your family, you can't bother for war with a man. So the collective work does stall. Right, that's so, because the opposition. Now, through technology, Rastafari are linked with other Rastafari, and we are coming together to implement His Majesty teaching and the vision, United Africa, which His Majesty set the foundation. We're on that mission, the repatriation. You have Rasta where lick down repatriation. You know what I mean? They're not upon that. The building of Africa is not upon them irids. You know what I mean? Everything mixed up in a one loosey-goosey, indiscipline. No discipline. His Majesty never out there spread him seed indiscriminately, not taking care of children. No, His Majesty never do that. Rastafari never do that, never teach that. But we have Rasta with him and a Rasta. He never do that. You can't chat to him. Again, you know what I mean? We're not saying these things to cause conflict. We're saying these things to cause clarity, because we have a mission. And on this platform, this is a Rastafari platform. We may interview a Rasta if him works is up there, because this is also a Pan-African platform, and Rasta, many of them are Pan-African. Not all, there's the same many, because Rasta thing diverse out there. So, you know what I mean? We might interview them here, we might bring them here, and even ask them about, you know, their opposition to the teaching of His Majesty. Once you hear a man start war against His Majesty, then he identify himself already. But we are declaring it here. Spread this through the community. We want to have this conversation because, again, I think a lot of things start. His Majesty have the black print. It's been there. You know what I mean? As I just to implement the teaching.
Well, the leaders of the world have failed in their responsibility to lead the youths them to a brighter future. Well, I hear the conquering line of the tribe of Judah, Earth's rightful ruler. I just wear Rastafari crown, unconquerable. Me come to tell them about Babylon, they're falling down. Tafari dismantle you. Me come to tell them about the way Rastafari crown, unconquerable. Me come to tell them about Babylon, they're falling down. Tafari dismantle you. Me come to tell them about Holy Palace intrigue, infighting between Solomon seed. Well, Empress tried to want her family to lead. Well, King Michael want him son to lead, but King Michael now watch the orphan married to him niece, who get up every day and a study and a read. He work and he pray every day. He achieve. Them say you're the leader. Every nation need a just the way Rastafari crown, unconquerable. Me come to tell them about Babylon, they're falling down. Tafari dismantle you. Me come to tell them about the Rastafari crown, unconquerable. Me come to tell them about Babylon, they're falling down. Tafari dismantle you. Well, Ras Michael, son was having a good time when he should mind the affairs of the state, cause he's descent from the great line of Menelik II. But he's stepping on toes of his elders, treat his women like hoes, he exposed. Now we working with the Ottoman Turks, say he's descending from Muhammad, but that's not how this works. See, the crown was anointed by the Orthodox Church, so if you are ruling as I, then you have to put Christ first.